in the late 1990s, taking popular video game characters and giving them their very own TV animated series was all the rage. Mario, Donkey Kong, Sonic, and even Earthworm Jim all got their very own animated shows. But there is one major name that is noticeably missing from this list, and that is, of course, Crash Bandicoot. Sony's savior and mascot was incredibly popular during this time, and I always wondered why Sony didn't give him a chance in his own cartoon series. Well, come to find out, there's at least some lost footage with what appears to be an animated intro for a cartoon for the Crash Bandicoot series, and it looks a lot like Animaniacs and other cartoons of the time period. In an interview of one of the game's developers, David Siller, he stated that the footage is actually test animation footage that was done for Crash Bandicoot the game, not an animated series. And it was produced by Universal Animation early on in development for the actual game. And it was based on this idea that they were trying to get all these different loose ideas and kind of put them together for this new IP at the time. But he said it was probably too ambitious, and it was also probably trying to use humor in kind of weird ways that kids wouldn't really pick up on. Now, the game originally launched back in 1996, and it was a production of Universal Studios, which was developed by Naughty Dog. However, the same guy later in an interview commented that the plans for the animated series were to be source material for a cartoon if the series was successful. However, it was later pulled because Sony got involved when they licensed out this game, and they said that these cutscenes were going to be pulled from the games because they were going for a different style. They were going for a more 3D look, something that really pushed the envelope at the time. They didn't really think that this fit the message of this 3D agenda that they're trying to push. You know, the PlayStation was out there, and it was at a time when 3D graphics were something that was new and something that was hot, and they really wanted to emphasize that. And by adding these weird kind of animation cutscenes, they didn't think it was going to be a good idea for that, so they kind of just cut it out of the games completely very, very early on in development. And because of that, it just kind of got tossed by the wayside, and the ideas and the concepts for a possible cartoon series were also tossed out. In that same interview, the same guy goes on to say that the footage was never even embedded or put in the game in any way, not even as an Easter egg or a bonus level or anything like that, and that there are very, very few people that even know that this actually existed until it was released on the internet back in 2015. Even developers of the game that were an integral part of the development of the series and of the games didn't know about this because it was cut by Sony so early on in development. And it sounds like the cutscenes were pulled from games and just kind of pulled the potential for this series, and it's very unfortunate because I was a huge fan of these games. These are my original copies of these games from a kid. As you guys can see, I have a bunch of Crash Bandicoot games. I love that, and I was a huge fan of Crash Bandicoot. It was one of the very first PlayStation 1 games I got. I got Crash Bandicoot 2 first, I believe was the first one I had, and I also had Spyro, the original Spyro, like my first PS1 games I got for Christmas as a kid. And so many good times, and I wish that they had this series because I can remember watching shows like the Mario cartoons or the Earthworm Jim series, and I remember seeing shows like that. I remember being interested in them because I did like the games, and I was a huge fan of the Animaniacs, and this seems like it'd be a very similar style to Animaniacs, and I was a big Animaniacs fan back in the day as well. But man, Crash Bandicoot on television would have been so cool. Such nostalgia for these games, and I absolutely cannot wait for the PS4 Insanity Trilogy coming out in just a few short days. Cannot wait to get my hands on that, play through all these levels. I mean, I can play them right now. I might even go play them right after I make this video, but I can't wait for it to be on PS4 and get the updated graphics and the leaderboards and all the kind of stuff they've added in. So stoked for that. But anyway, there's one last piece of information that was in this interview, and it's some more Crash Bandicoot awesomeness that we definitely missed out on, unfortunately. But he said that in the same interview, there was also talks of a potential Crash Bandicoot roller coaster at Universal Studios. How freaking amazing would that have been to have a Crash Bandicoot themed roller coaster? He said that it was discussed because the offices for the game developers was right next door to the office where Universal Theme Parks had their creative offices, which is where they did all of their planning for future attractions and rides that were going into their theme parks. And Crash Bandicoot was so popular at the time that they actually floated the idea of a Crash Bandicoot roller coaster, and it made it past the initial stages. It was like something that they were kind of toying with, but it never made it to fruition. Unfortunately, it was never past the planning stages or development stages. And that, again, would have been something really, really cool. It's been a while since we've gotten a Crash game or anything like that. Like the last one came out in 2008 on the Wii and Xbox 360. I never actually played that one. But again, it's so nice to see Crash finally getting some more love after, I believe 7 or 8 years. And I cannot wait. Hopefully they make some new Crash Bandicoot games after this trilogy, revives the series. Hopefully it can breathe some life back into a classic, an all-time great series. Absolutely love this. As always, guys, remember to drop a like down below if you guys liked the video. That's all I have for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe for more videos. Check out some previous PS1 videos or some PS4 videos, some Crash Bandicoot videos. All that links will be in the description and the end slate. But until next time, guys, remember that's always came back time somewhere. Until then, guys, take it easy and peace out.